All right, Casey here with CL Crib, where I'm teaching you web design and Webflow one video at a time. And today we're going to talk about how to build a CMS collection. Yes, we're going to build a full-blown CMS collection. I'm going to show you some tips and tricks. And we're going to start off simple. We're going to build a testimonial collection. Everybody needs one of those for their website. You need testimonials in order to draw in new customers. And so that's exactly what we are going to build today. But we're going to make it so that you or your client can update this super easy. So let's jump into the computer and check things out. All right, well, here we are in the computer, and what we're actually going to be building today is we're going to replace this testimonial section that I currently have right here. And what I've done over time is we've just gained more and more testimonials is I've just added these. And if you notice that I have this actually added as a component. And so inside of this component, we could actually, go ahead and build a testimonial section. We can use our CMS really to take the place of this testimonials component right here. So that way we don't have to go back through the website and recreate everything. So we're just put our CMS collection here, but this is going to take the place of all of this. So instead of me having to go in here and manually create one of these each and every single time, all I'm going to do is update the CMS. So it's going to make it super easy. So here's how we get started. First things first, we need to look and we need to take note of what is actually on these cards. And so if you see, we've got some stars that we could handle if we want to do that. Or we've also got the testimonial itself. We have the name of the person, and I have where the testimonial came from. And so those are some of the things that we need to make sure that we include. So if we jump in here, we're going to click on this icon right here. It's like the circles with a stack. If you hover over it, it's going to say CMS. And so you just go ahead and click right here on Create New Collection. All right, so we're in here. We're creating our new collection. We're going to give our collection a name, and I'm going to name this just simply Testimonials because that's exactly what we are doing here. Now, one of the things that we're going to do is we're just going to use some of these fields that are already here. And so this first field, we're just going to name, we're just going to say this is the person's name, right? So the person who has left us the testimonial. Now, when you're going through and you're filling this out, you can put some help text here. So you might want to say something like, add the person's name who left the testimonial. Something simple like that for someone who is going through and doing that. Now, with person's name, we may not need to do that. That's already a pretty self-explanatory label. But in those instances where it's not as explanatory, then I usually use the help text field to add in some help text. And you can see what this is going to look like over here on the right side. You have the person's name, add the person's name who left the testimonial. Done. So we're going to save that field. Now, the next thing that we need is we're going to need a plain text because this is going to be where the actual testimonial occurs. So we're just going to say testimonial, right? Like we can leave some text, place the testimonial text in the field below. And then we might leave something like try to keep this to, let's say 2 to 3 sentences. We don't want a super long testimonial, and really people are not going to read a super long testimonial. And so that's why I'm saying try to keep this to 2 to 3 sentences. It's going to keep our our testimonial cards from getting super long, as well as it's just going to be more readable for people who are coming to the site. Now, one of the things here that you have an option to do is text field type. So you can have a single line, and you can see what that's going to look like over here on the right side. Or if you have longer text, which in our case, we're going to have longer text, you want a multi-field. And so it's going to look like this on the right, which is going to allow us to read that testimonial that we're putting in here much easier. So we're going to go ahead and save that field. So we have the person's name, we have the testimonial, and then we want to say, where did this testimonial come from? Now, in our case, we're getting testimonials from 2 different places. And so what we might want to do is create just a drop down that will, or give it an option as to which one we want to pick. And so that would probably be the best for this scenario. So we're going to say, social social network, right? Like pick the social network where the testimonial was left. Something as simple as that. And then we just have two options. We have Facebook, and then our second option is going to be Google. And then we can go in and we can add in, more if we need to in the future. So then we're just going to click Save. All right. So we have that in place. And then what I'm going to do at this point is just to keep it simple, we can maybe revisit adding in the stars in a future lesson. But at this point, I'm just going to keep it simple. We're going to have the person's name, we're going to have the testimonial, and we're going to have the social network. And then for the person's testimonial, the way that I actually had it for the person's name is, I forgot to include this, is an example. So sometimes I'll put an example like, we'll say something like, place the first name and the last initial. And then I'll say an example, John S., like that. Maybe add the first name and the last initial, John S. Done. All right, we're going to create our collection at this point. Our collection has been created, but at this point, we do not have anything in the collection. Now, let me just show you an easy way to get a number of different items in this collection really fast. And so what we're actually going to do is we're going to use the export up here on the top right. And then what this is actually going to do is it's going to export a CSV for us. And so if we go over here to our downloads, here's our CSV, right here. And so we can open with, say, you want to open this with numbers, you can open it with Google Chrome or Excel, whatever, right? We're just going to open ours with numbers. And then what's important is that we save this as a CSV after we do this. And so let me bring this over here onto the page. And what you're going to see here is you're going to have the person's name, you're going to have the slug, collection ID, item ID, created on, all this stuff. There's nothing there, though, for us really to work with at this point. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to add some items. And then what Webflow is going to do when we import this sheet is it's going to create those items for us. And so let me just go through and add these items really quickly. All right, so we have a number of different items here. Let me adjust my screen. And at this point, all we're going to do is we're just going to take these testimonials right here and we're going to add it to our cells. And it doesn't matter if it's wrapped or not, but we're just going to simply add these in. And so we'll add in Google as well for the social network here. If I can get clicked into that cell. And then we'll have Google there. So I'm not going to add any more right now. Let me just show you how this actually is going to work. So we've edited this. We're going to save this. I want to make sure that I save this as a CSV. So I may have to go in and export it when I'm working with numbers. So I'm just going to export this as a CSV so that I know that, things are on the up and up. I'm going to save this. Wise Guys Testimonials, and we're just going to go ahead and save this to my downloads folder so I know exactly where this is at. Let me save it to the desktop just because I already have one there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back over here to our testimonials collection. It has no items, but we're going to go ahead and add an item from Priscilla J. So we're going to do an import, and then all we're going to do at this point is take our CSV, this one right here, and we're going to import it. And it's going to ask us a question, is this your CSV's header row? And we're going to say yes. And then what it's going to do is it's going to say, hey, we want you to map these fields for us. And so in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to map this person's name to the person's name. And we don't have anything here to map yet because we don't have anything. But we have our testimonial, so we're going to map the testimonial. And we have our our network, which we're going to map to the social network. And this is usually going to, line up perfectly if you do it the way that I showed you, where you create the collection and then you export the empty collection, and then you're going to re-import. We're not creating our own CSV. We're allowing Webflow to do that for us. And in those cases, it's going to match up all of these fields for us, simply because this is just coming from Webflow's CMS and we're putting it right back into Webflow's CMS. And so we're going to do import testimonial. Do you want to create a backup before importing your content? Sure. And so here we go. In just a second, this is going to work. And now we have our testimonial in here. If I click in, you're just going to see that we have the person's name. It creates a slug for us. We have the custom fields, and then we have one of the social networks. And then that's it. That's all that we have in this CMS. Other CMSs may be a lot longer, more pieces to it. But this makes it really easy to be able to add information into a CMS by using this import and export functionality that Webflow has built in. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to go through and I'm going to add in all of these, and I will see you on the other side once I have these imported in. I would suggest that you do the same as well if you have a CMS that you are looking to build at this point. All right, we're back. Just want to show you that I've uploaded all of the CMS items here. It's just using that same method that I just showed you. So now what we need to do is we need to actually build out that collection. And so what I want to do, and maybe what you have in your case, is you want to go in and you want to replace something. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I've already created this component. This component is on other pages. And what I don't want to do is have to go to find all the other pages that I put this testimonial on, because that might take some time. So what I'm actually going to do is use this testimonial section component, and I'm just going to build my CMS list right in there because I already have this set up. So I'm going to click into that component, and you can see how all of that is laid out here. I use client first naming system. And so this is how that's laid out. And I also have, as I mentioned earlier when I first started this video, this testimonial section right here. So I need to go into this as well, because that's going to give me access to my testimonial cards as well as my testimonials here. So what I have set up is I have a 2-column grid for the testimonials component. And so what I want to actually do is I want to mimic this, but I don't want to lose this particular component right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually come in and I'm going to I'm going to do Command E, which is going to bring up this list right here. And I can just simply type in collection list, because that's exactly what we're after, right? Collection list. That's going to put a collection list on the page. Obviously, it's not styled how we want it to be styled at this point. We're going to fix that here in just a second. But the first thing that we need to do is that it says double click to connect to a collection, and you have to connect to a collection if you want to actually add anything in there. So we're going to go over here to none, and we're going to, or our source, excuse me, it says none, and then we're going to click on testimonials. This is going to give us our testimonials, and so it's going to show us all the names of the people who have left testimonials. Now, this is no good because it doesn't really tell us anything. So what we actually need to do is we need to take these testimonial cards that are out here, we need to put them inside of our collection list. So the best thing to do is to go back over here. Now we want our collection list to be styled the same as this testimonials component. So what we're actually going to do is we're just going to grab this class. So we're going to click on the class. We're going to say copy. Then we're going to go not to the collection list wrapper, because this kind of acts like a holder. It's really a wrapper. What we want to do is we actually want to go to the collection list. This is where we're going to apply our layout. And we're just going to take and apply this testimonials component. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back over here. We're just going to simply take this style off, testimonials, and we'll say, we're just going to call it our wrapper, testimonials wrapper, for lack of a better term. So we have our collection list wrapper, which is starting our collection list. We have our testimonials component, and then inside of our testimonials component is going to be our collection item. And that's where, if I dive in a little bit further, we're going to put this testimonials card. Now, I know that I have a lot of different, what am I looking for here? different components. So what we can actually do at this point, because it's all going to be styled based on this collection list item, is we can go in and we can get rid of this testimonials card, because every single instance where these testimonials component is, this collection list is going to take its place, and we're really going to only be working with one card. So that's the beauty of the CMS. It's kind of like creating, one card, and then all of those are going to be filled in. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to get rid of this. So you just can press Shift Command A, and that's going to release that component. So now what I can do is I can take this card, and all I need to do is just drop it inside of our collection item. Now, you notice when I did that, it made a bunch of copies. Now, here are our other cards that are right here, right? And these cards, at this point, we really don't need, because we've already uploaded all of the data from these particular cards. And so this might be a little bit scary, but we're actually going to delete these cards at this point. So let's delete that testimonial list, and let's delete this testimonial list. And that is going to leave us just simply with this testimonials wrapper. All right. So what we need to do now is we actually need to connect our data. So we go over here to settings. We're going to click into our card, and we're going to go, let's just click on this right here is maybe the easiest way to do that. And if you notice over here on the right, we have all of this text, but we have this blue dot with like a little plus. And so if we click into that, this is going to open up the data that we have from our CMS. And so what we're just going to pick is our testimonials. And you're going to notice that most of these are going to start to change. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go right here to this next item, which is the name. And we're just going to connect this to the person's name. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to go right here to the network or the social network. And we're going to connect this to the social network. And so that's going to change based on whatever social network it is that we have done. And really, it's that simple. We have now created a CMS collection. And every single time that we add a new testimonial to it, it's just going to add a new card. Now, we still need to work on this button right here, because this button is gotten to be a little bit unstyled or a little unruly for us. So what we can do is we can just go up here to this testimonials wrapper. And in this testimonials wrapper, what we might want to do, one of the easiest things is we could just apply flex. Then we're going to apply it so that it's actually vertical. And then we will apply it here to the center. And so that's going to give us this button in the center. Now, if we click on this button, we have some margin on it already. So we're good to go. All right, so we click out of this. We click out of our actual section. And now what we have is we have our testimonials in there. So if I want to go and I want to add another testimonial, so let's just add a testimonial. We can go in here. We can put in the person's name. And so say John Smith wanted to give a great testimonial. And this company is Wise Guys Dumpsters. Great dumpsters if you're in the DFW area. And we're just going to say something like, is an amazing company to rent a dumpster from. Choose them for your next big project. All right, then we're going to connect. We'll say this is Facebook. And then we're just going to click create. We saw that has been created, John Smith right there. And now we can go over here and we can see here's John Smith. He's the latest testimonial that has been given. And this is what we just added in. All right, so there you have it. We have our different testimonials on our website. We've been able to do that by connecting up our CMS. We've done some advanced things about an import and export of the CMS collection, as well as we have used components in order to make it easy to add these on the page. And then anywhere that these testimonial sections were already on our website, it's going to be updated so that it looks just like this.